Crazy. It's crazy. Shalom, Israel. We're getting started in a second. Give me 1 second. Hey, Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer Warhol down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Brothers and sisters tuning in. If you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We have a school here in Memphis. The address is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. The calling number for the school is 901-249-0085. Again, 901-249-0085 is the calling number. Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there is nothing more important than for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to find out the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is here on the earth. So what we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible so that we can gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has put here for us to be able to receive in this time to transform our lives and become the people that he called us to be. All right. So first thing we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to ask questions. If you have a question online, type it in. If you have a question in the classroom, all you got to do is raise your hand. If you don't have any questions tonight, we're going to go into tonight's topic, which is the plagues of America. We're going to talk about the plagues of America. All right. And it's a very important topic because there's a lot of things that goes on in the world, and we live in a time where there's all this access to information and all this access to entertainment and all this access to, you know, one another, that sometimes you can miss out on seeing the big picture. You can miss out on seeing the big. You can not even miss out. You can not know what's going on in the world because you're so distracted by all the other stuff they want you to be distracted by. Like, we live in a time where it's definitely on purpose that you have all these different devices and all these different apps and all these different programs with all these different shows and these different movies. When I was growing up, man, you had about 7 channels. You had the first 4 channels that every TV had. Even if you had a damn piece of aluminum foil on your TV, you had the 4 local channels. Then you had, the HBO channel, maybe. And then some basic cable. Then basic cable came along. You had maybe 14 channels. You had your TNT, your TBS, your ESPN. Now, man, TV is just a million different things. You need 5 different apps in order to be able to watch the television you want to watch, and all that is designed to keep you occupied, keep you busy, keep you from watching and knowing what's going on in the world. Man, there's all types of natural disasters that's happening all the time. Earthquakes and floods and tsunamis and volcanoes erupting. They don't even report it on the local news no more. You know what I'm saying? It's always terrorist attacks and people storming their government's buildings and all types of fraud in the voting elections and protests and people getting beat over the head. News won't even tell you about it. I live here in Memphis, Tennessee, man. For months, we was hearing about how there was a drought on the Mississippi River. Mississippi River didn't have water. It was low at certain points. And that's what they used as the excuse for why the mail was moving so slow. But they didn't tell you about the trucker, the trucker strike that happened all across Europe a couple months ago. Well, all of the big rig truckers, them cats on them 18-wheelers in Europe, all them 18-wheelers stopped moving. Because them people said they was fed up with how they was being treated. Fed up with not getting paid no good wages. So guess what they stopped doing? They stopped moving their vehicles on the road. And all the Earth's commerce and all the Earth's shipping got held up. They told you that it was because it was a drought on the Mississippi. They're not talking about all of the boats that's at the ports in all of these different countries being held up because all of these governments are disagreeing with one another over the value of the dollar and the value of this currency and that currency. They are pretending like everything is okay in this place when it's not. And it's important for us to understand that what's really going on is God is plaguing this place. And the plagues that God is putting on this country and on this earth are just like the plagues that he put on Egypt. I want to take time tonight to go into this Bible to show you that everything that is taking place in this time is God doing to our oppressor today what he did to our oppressor thousands of years ago when we were in Egypt. And the culmination of it is our deliverance out of this place, the same way he delivered us out of the land of Egypt. All right. So the first scripture we're going to go to is Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. And this scripture here is the reason why we have these classes. It's the reason why brothers go out on the street and teach. It's the reason why we will argue and fight with our people for them to learn this knowledge and this truth. But just like all things, nothing lasts forever. These classes will not last forever. Us being on the streets will not last forever. But now is the time that the Lord has us out there, because now is the time that the Most High is trying to gather his people back together. All right, this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. And it reads, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she has filled, fill to her double. And when you read up to verse 1, this is talking about Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great is a place, it is an empire, a kingdom on the earth. And the Bible says that Babylon has fallen and has become the cage of every unclean bird, meaning it's the place on the earth where all evil spirits dwell. And then the angel is calling for God's people to come out of this evil place. Come out of the sins and the iniquities of this place so that you do not partake in her plagues. What does that mean? The Bible is prophesying plagues. It didn't say maybe there'll be plagues. Maybe you can. Maybe you won't. It doesn't say come out of her because she might be plagued. It don't say come out of her because maybe something bad's going to happen there. It's a warning to come out of America. Take your spirit out of this place. Stop living like these people and following their beliefs and their doctrines and their philosophies. We talked yesterday about how there's only one God. You can live in America, but you better be serving the Most High. Because if you're serving anything else, then you are going to partake of the plagues of everyone else. So the Bible establishes that America will be plagued, that Babylon the Great is going to suffer for all of their sins and all of the evil that has reached unto heaven. So as you take a look around what's going on the earth, you have to understand that this is the plagues of God. When there are things happening that can't really be explained, when there's so many, phenomenon that's unusual or unheard of, when you pay attention to what the scientists are talking about, when you pay attention to what the economists are saying, when you look at what's going on with the governments and the state of civilization, you have to see that the writing is on the wall, man. If you take your mind out of the TV and watching all the goofy programming they got, and you pay attention to what's going on in the earth right now, then you will find that we are in the midst of a massive die-off of organisms on the earth. There are more animals becoming extinct, and more animals are dying from unknown illnesses than the time of the last ice age. There's been, and according to Esau science, in recorded history, there have been 5 massive die-offs of animals on the planet. And they're saying that we are living in the 6th right now. If you watch TV, you might hear news report about a flock of birds dropped dead in a 2-mile radius unexplainably the other day. And they'll interview people in the neighborhood. Yeah, man, I was driving down. I just see all the birds on the side of the road. You got whales washing up in different parts of the ocean. Lakes where there's nothing wrong with the lake. You just got a whole, pocket of dead fish. These are the plagues of these. This is God's work that's being done. Right now in California, they're getting rain and tsunami. They're getting rain and mudslides and, torrential downpours that they have not seen in over 20 years. At the same time, just a few months ago, it was massive droughts all across the country. All of these things that are taking place, man, is the Lord weakening our oppressor. And at the same time, gathering us together. You look at what's going on at that border. You look at what's going on in Honduras and Costa Rica and Guatemala and Mexico, and you see all of those people fleeing, man. It is an exodus taking place in this earth. And the exodus is gathering God's people together. The Most High is calling his people to flee from the lands where they live and gather together in the place where he has his priests on the street teaching and gathering them together, man. Let me drop that. Let's get Amos chapter. Amos 3. I want to say 3 and 7. Let's go ahead and get it. See if I'm right. Amos 3. Is it Amos? No, it's not Amos 3. Is it Amos 3? Okay, now it's Amos 3 and 6. Um, Hold up. It's Amos 9. Get Amos 9 and 8. Amos chapter 9, verse 8. Amos 9 and 8 says, Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Most High. You understand? That same Babylon the Great that we read about in Revelations is the sinful kingdom spoken of in Amos. Most High said he's going to destroy the sinful kingdom from off the face of the earth, which means what? This place is going to get wiped out. This place is going to be done away with. I talked in this class. I've talked in these classes before about doing a damn lecture about the flood of Noah, right? I've done some research and done a little bit of study. I ain't did all the study I needed to do, but there's evidence all across the west coast of America. If you go look at a topography map of America, right? A topography map is a map that shows the land, shows you the different elevations and the mountain ranges and stuff like that. You go get you a topographical map of the United States of America. You go look on the right side of that map. Everything right of the Mississippi is green. You got woods, you got rivers, you got lakes, you got mountains. It's a beautiful landscape east of the Mississippi. Then you look west of the Mississippi River and it's all brown. It's all brown and it's dry and it's desertous and there's mountains and there's Grand Canyons and there's all kinds of just rough landscape. Then you go and you do some research and you do some studying about what occurred on the earth around the time of the last ice age. And you'll find out that around the time of the last ice age, there was a great giant flood that washed all across the landscape of the west coast of America. Giant, huge, 3-mile high waves of water that carved out those giant mountains in the Grand Canyon. It carved out the mountains of the Rocky Mountains. You go and look in the states of Wyoming and Washington and Iowa and North Dakota, and you see all of these great land masses of unused, uninhabitable earth. And you realize, well, damn, something came along a long time ago and just wiped out everything that was here on this land. Who knows what was there before? Who knows what could have been built there? Hell, we know over there in Egypt, this giant pyramids has been there 10,000 years. What could have been here on this side of the earth? We would never know. Why? Because God wiped it all out. And what makes you think that he wouldn't do it with America? You think that in 1,000 years, if our king comes back, that you're going to be able to see the Statue of Liberty? That you're going to see the Washington Monument or the damn arches in St. Louis? All that's going to get wiped out. You'll never even know that this place ever existed. And there was any inkling of the thought that there was a civilization here. How do I know it? Because the Native American Indians was all across this country, 500 million tribes strong. 500 tribes strong, over a million, hundreds of millions of them. And your oppressor came here and wiped them out, killed them, destroyed them, transformed the land to make it so that you would never recognize that they were here at all. There's certain little sites across the country that you can go to and you can go see, and you can recognize that, damn, there was a civilization here, man. You understand? There's places across the country, Serpent Mound, and you know what I'm saying, they used to call St. Louis the Mound City. Why? Because the Native Americans had a knowledge and understanding of architecture to where they could dig in the earth and move the earth around and create housing under mounds. Your oppressor came through and wiped all that out, man. So what makes you think that God isn't going to do the same thing to them? He's telling us in the Bible that he is. But he said he's not going to completely destroy the house of Jacob. Let's read on in Amos chapter 9, verse 9 now. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. That's a warning from the Most High. That's him letting you know that he's going to destroy this place, and the sinners of his people are going to be destroyed right along with it because they refuse to obey God and recognize the warning signs. What are the warning signs? The warning signs are the plagues. The warning signs are all the unnatural occurrences, all the things that are just, it's ridiculous and crazy. Nobody would have imagined that this would ever happen. That's God. That's the Most High plaguing this place. Does anything good ever happen and people say, man, that's amazing. I never would have imagined in a million years something like that would happen. They don't ever say that about anything good. They only say that about something that's bad. It's only when something horrible happens they say, man, I never would have imagined, never thought that something like that would ever take place. There's never a situation where, super rich guy dies and he leaves all his money to, the poor people of his city where he grew up. And you be like, damn, man, everybody got $1 million. Never thought something like that would happen. The only unimaginable things that ever happen on the earth are horrible and evil and result in death and destruction. But they're not things that are unimaginable. They're not things that come out of nowhere, because we're reading here in the Bible that they are things that are the fulfillment of God's prophecy. All right. Let me drop that. Let's get now where I want to go. Hold on. Let's get the book of Romans, chapter 9. Go Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. You brothers out there, man, you troopers, you going through these classes, get your Bible out, your physical Bible out. Start thumbing through the pages of the Bible and finding books when I call for them. When we get out there to camp, you're going to be able to need to open up that book. You ain't going to have that phone to flip to no more. You got to open up the book. So get some practice opening up the book and reading out of the book. All right? This book feels good in my hands, man. I don't always, flip through it, but it's an old dusty book, but it just feels good going through the book. It feels real priestly, just flipping through the pages. You understand? All right, this is Romans chapter 9. Hold on. This is Romans 9 and 17. All right. After we read Romans 9 and 17, then we're going to go back into the Old Testament, all right? So Romans 9 and 17 says, for the scripture says to Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. You understand? In the days when God destroyed Egypt, he let Pharaoh know, I raised you up for one reason, just so that I could show my power in your destruction. I allowed you to get so mighty and so strong so that when I brought you down, everybody would know that there is a power that is greater than what we thought was the greatest power. This is something that has been done before on the earth. God allowed somebody to get so powerful and so mighty and so unstoppable just so that when he brought them down, the earth would marvel at how great the power of God was. Verse 18, therefore has he mercy on who he will have mercy, and who he will hardeneth. Thou wilt say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? So this is Paul letting it be known, God has mercy on who he has mercy on. And if God wants to harden someone, he hardens them. But then but then when I say that, you'll say to me, well, how could God find fault with somebody if he hardened them? This is a logical line of questioning that would occur between two people who are trying to prove a point. Somebody's trying to say that there is no God, or God doesn't exist, or God is cruel. Then there's a righteous man saying God is just. Everything God does is right. And in this discussion, we get to the point where if God is just and right, why does he punish evil people for being evil if he made them that way? That's the question that's being asked here. Verse 20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that replies against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Meaning the evil people who are evil in this earth, they are evil because that is their desire. That's what they want to do. They don't stop and say, why did you make me evil, God? Why did you make me this way? No, they just go on and rape and rob and murder and steal and kill and enjoy it. They don't desire to want to change their nature. If they did, then they would seek God. Evildoers, people who are evil, man, sinners, they don't seek God. They don't desire to want to stop the things that they want to do. They enjoy it, man. They like it. A child molester likes molesting children until he gets caught. Drug addicts love getting high until they got to be homeless. Or they get caught having blown all of the goddamn family's savings. You understand? I'm trying to think of other evils to talk about, but those are the main two. You understand? Getting high and goddamn murdering. But there's all types of evil that's done in the earth, and the people who are the proponents of that evil, they cool with doing the evil as long as they're getting away with it. Your oppressor is no different. They love being rich and living deliciously. They love keeping people poor. They love keeping people beaten down. I sit sometimes and I look at what's going on in the earth today. I say I'll be studying a lot of different stuff, y'all. I'll be looking at technology and I look at all of the different scientific advancements that's being made right now. And I imagine to myself what the earth would be like if the evilest people weren't in charge, right? Before I came into the truth, I was an electrician. I worked as an electrician for about 7 years. But before I became, during the time when I was coming up as an electrician, in classes, they would have us study the beginning of, they would study electrical theory, DC, learning about the DC batteries and the alternating current electrical system, which is what we all use today. And then I got to studying about this guy named Nikola Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla was a cat that lived in the 1800s. He died a little bit after 1800, like 1910s, he died, passed away. But in the 1800s, Nikola Tesla had created a system of pulling electricity out of the air. There's pictures of Nikola Tesla standing holding bulbs in his hands that have no wires and the bulbs are lit. He had a device called a Tesla coil where the coil would pull the energy out of the air, out of the clouds, out of the damn lightning out of the clouds. And he could store it in his device and then beam it where he wanted to beam it. You understand? So he was able to deal with the physical power of electricity, but also transmit it throughout the air in a way where it wasn't harmful. What I'm talking about is wireless electricity in the 1800s. Think of how far the earth would be if everybody had wireless electricity 100 years ago. Think of all the things that could have been invented and the things that could have been done, all of the systems that could have been created to run things autonomously if everybody had wireless, free electricity from the sky out the air that God created. But because your oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, they suppressed Tesla's technology. Nikola Tesla had solar-powered vehicles, cars that he drove that didn't require any gasoline, didn't require any oil to be sucked out of the earth. What if we had that 100 years ago? What would we be driving now? What would we be flying if we had vehicles that could move and didn't need jet propulsion or steam propulsion? If you know anything about engineering or about the way vehicles work today, you got to put gasoline in the vehicle because that gasoline gets transformed into fire. You understand? Or fuel that burns in an engine that makes all those parts move so that the wheels can go forward. Well, damn, if Nikola Tesla had wireless electricity 100 years ago, that means he didn't need any of that propulsion system. He didn't need anything to be burnt up in order to make an engine go. Well, damn, where would we be 100 years later? Think of all the wars that have been fought because of oil and gas and electricity. What if these people who are the powers that be at the top never were in the position to be at the top because they couldn't have amassed their riches scheming and stealing wealth from everybody so that they could have gas, oil, and electricity? You understand? But we live in a world where the devil is in charge, where the evildoers are running the earth, and so we don't know what the world would be like. You understand? But I said all that to say that these people who run this society, they are not asking God, why did you make me this way? They are not wondering, why are we so cruel? Why are we so evil? All they're wondering about is how can we get more? And how can we keep the poor so we can stay rich? There's a whole lot of conspiracy theories going on right now behind this COVID-19 and the vaccine and Bill Gates wanting to reduce the population and all of these rich, wealthy white men talking about there's too many people on the earth, there's not enough resources. All of that is a goddamn lie. But the truth is that they want to wipe you out. They want to kill millions and hundreds of millions of people on this earth. But guess what? All of that is a part of the plagues of the Most High. And how do you avoid? The Bible tells us how to avoid getting caught up in those plagues. You gotta learn. You gotta love. You gotta serve the Most High. You gotta obey Him. You gotta do what He said to do. You understand? But the man who was created to be wicked never stops and says, "Why was I made to be this way?" They just enjoy that it's them, that they are the ones being the murderer and not the one being murdered. Everybody understands? So let's go back to Romans 9 and 20. Romans 9 and 19. Thou wilt then say unto me, why does he, God, yet find fault? For who has resisted his, God's will? Verse 20. Nay, but O man, who art thou that replies against God? You can't, don't nobody ask God that. You can't reply to God, why'd you make me this way? Shall the thing formed to him that formed it, shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? No one on earth questions their existence or questions why they are the way they are, except for someone who doesn't want to go through the struggle and the pain of who they are. Again, rich people who get rich by scheming and lying and deceiving and double crossing people, they don't ever say, why did God make me such a schemer? Why did God make me? Why am I such a terrible, evil individual? They just say, man, it's a dog eat dog world, and you gotta get it how you live. And if they was too stupid to know that I was scheming on them, then they deserve to get schemed on. At the same time, a righteous man, a priest of the Lord, doesn't never say, why did God make me to be so good? Why can't I be evil? Why can't I go be a murderer and a killer? That's not a thought that anybody ever has. You only have that thought if you hate your life. You understand? Which is why homosexuals are the ones who say that. Why did God make me this way? Not realizing that God made you to fight. That's what He made you for. Any challenge or obstacle you face in life, it's because God is trying to get you to fight. Some of y'all they've been through some horrible things in your life, in your childhood. You've been traumatized, and you wonder, if there's a God, why did these things happen to me? They happened to you because God knew that you could fight to overcome it. God wanted to make an example out of you that even though you go through all these horrible things in your life and in your childhood, you can grow up and still be a priest of the Lord. You can grow up and still be a princess. You can grow up and still give your life to God no matter what happened to you. But you didn't choose that. You allowed what happened to you happened, and you chose to embrace it. You didn't choose to fight. You chose to give in. You chose to be weak. And for a lot of us, we didn't choose to be weak. We didn't know how to be strong. Church doesn't teach you how to be strong. This society doesn't teach you to be strong. That's something that comes from knowing the truth, comes from knowing the Most High. Romans 9:20 again. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that replies against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Has not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory? Who are the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? It's talking about your oppressor. It's talking about Pharaoh. It's talking about Babylon. God has endured with great long suffering the evil of this place. Why? Because from the beginning, he created them for his wrath. Then there are some vessels that the Lord created for his mercy. You want to know why you've lived a horrible life, why all those things happened to you as a child? Because the Lord created you to show his mercy. You went through all of those things in that horrible life you lived just to get to the time in your life where God would reveal himself and be merciful unto you, where he would stop your pain and stop your suffering and stop your heartache and raise you up to be strong and mighty and a conqueror, so that you could go find other people just like you who had been broken and help them to see the greatness that God put in them. And when you learn that, man, you don't look back at your life and say God is unfair. You don't look back at your life and say God is evil. You say, I thank God because he delivered me. Even though he put me in it in the first place, he did it so that I would realize just how great I am. So if you haven't found that in yourself yet, you've got to keep doing more. You've got to keep serving God so you can find out just how great you are. You want to know why life is so hard and why you go through so much? Because God is trying to get you to see that you're better than this. He created you to be more than what you are, than what you've allowed yourself to be. Maybe you should get out of the way and let God take control and let him show you how great you are, how much potential you have. And the same way that he's trying to show you how great he made you, he's going to show this oppressor just how small he made them. Your oppressor seems like he's that guy. He got it made and got it all figured out till God brings the temperature down to -4 degrees, and now the planes can't fly in the sky because their wings are freezing off. They feel in that day, I'm just a man. I ain't got no control, no power. Your oppressor is mighty strong and powerful until the Lord bring a monsoon down, and now the rain is shutting down all of the airports. Can't no planes fly. 911 cannot reach you because it's too cold outside. Ooh, you feel so safe and protected in America until the 911 issues a message on Facebook saying, don't call us tonight, y'all. We're not coming out. That literally happened in Memphis about 2 weeks ago. On Facebook, it wasn't an emergency broadcast system. It wasn't no and on the TV. It was a tweet from the Memphis Police Department. Please refrain from dialing 911 this evening, as we will be unable to respond to any emergencies. If you are in a vehicle accident, you and the person who you had an accident with should take pictures and exchange information, and we'll deal with that shit some other time. But we ain't coming. Salakia. You think America is wonderful until then. And how could you not know that that's God with his sense of humor, showing how fragile this place is. What do you think the coronavirus was? If that wasn't a plague from God, it was the Lord showing how easily he could shut it all down. Niggas got a cough. The flu come around every year. One year, though, this shit ain't the flu. Shut everything down. Send the whole civilization into an uproar. That's how easily this all can be destroyed, can be disrupted from some shit that you can't even see. It's in the air. You don't even know it exists. You don't even know it. You don't even know. You can't even comprehend what this thing is. But the Lord will just shut it all down. What if all this time he was just waiting to show his wrath? And along the way, he's hardened the heart of your oppressor to make him come down on you worse, so that the judgment that he brings down will be that much sweeter. So, like it's just,
I was just gonna say that right after Christmas up in New York when they got that blizzard, how all the airports were shut down and those people were stranded. Yeah. And that immediately made me think about like y'all are out celebrating these holidays and visiting your family for a holiday got you stranded somewhere you don't live.
And that's the Lord. Because he told you not to be celebrating it anyway. The biggest travel days in America are the day after Thanksgiving and the weekend before Christmas. And both times this year, the Lord just came through and shut it down. Said, nope, we ain't dealing with it. We ain't letting it go. So like y'all bear with me. Shalom, Lord Christ. I'm teaching class up. No sweat. All right, shalom, Lord Christ. You understand? Like this is the Lord showing his power. So let's jump this. Now we're gonna go back to the Old Testament. We're gonna go into the book of Exodus. And we're gonna read about the plagues that God brought down on Egypt, and we're gonna read about Pharaoh's heart being hardened. All right. All right, hold on. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to get where we're gonna start at. Hold on. Salaki. Everybody, let's go to Exodus chapter 6, all right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 6, all right? Matter of fact, we're gonna start at chapter 7. We'll go to Exodus chapter 7, all right? This Exodus chapter 7, starting at verse 1. It said, and the Most High said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may bring my hand upon Egypt and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Most High, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. So the Most High told Moses what he was going to do, and he told Moses what the result was going to be. Again, the Most High knew what the outcome was going to be, but he needed it to be done this way so that he would show his power through Moses. And that is, again, the same thing that is taking place on the earth today. The Lord's power is being shown. But the Lord's power is not just being shown because things are happening. His power is being shown because things are happening, and his priests and his prophets are warning the people about it beforehand. Everybody understands? And that's the way that the Most High moves. He doesn't just make things happen. He warns you about what's going to happen first, so that when this is how beautiful God is. The Most High will warn you. If you don't change, if you don't fix yourself, this is what's going to happen. And when you don't change and you don't fix yourself, what he said is going to happen happens. So that when it happens, you cannot say, what happened? Why did it end up this way? We're in Exodus 7. Like, God has things, he warns you first with the prophets and the priests. So that when it happens, you can't say, nobody warned me. Nobody told me. Why is this, what's happening to me is not right? That's why he sent Moses to Pharaoh. The Lord could have just plagued Egypt and brought the children of Israel out. Right. But he sent Moses first to warn Pharaoh. You need to let God's people go serve him. If you don't want to let God's people go serve him, you're going to be punished. And Pharaoh said, nigga, punish, nigga, I'm God. All right. So as the plague started happening in Egypt, Pharaoh understood this nigga came to me and told me about some God that I didn't believe in. And so as he got destroyed, Pharaoh knew that he couldn't say, why me? He couldn't say, why is this happening to my people? No, he full well knew and understood what was going on. I mean, Exodus chapter 7, verse 6. It says, and Moses and Aaron did as the Most High commanded them. So did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old. Anybody know how old that is? Kapatazar.
Excuse me, 80 and 83.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so score is 20. So 4 is 4 times 20, that's 80. And 4 and 3 is 83. So these is what? Old men. These wasn't no young cats. These wasn't no young fighting age men that's gonna come in. They're gonna fight you if you don't do what they tell you to do. Everybody understand? These was older brothers. Verse 8. And the Most High spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle. So like, I'm gonna skip down this part. This is the Lord preparing Aaron and Moses for battling with Pharaoh. Everybody understands? And that's what this part was about. Hold on. All right, hold on. It's Exodus 7 and 13. It said, and he hardened Pharaoh's heart that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go. Everybody understands again. Moses goes to Pharaoh, warns him, you gotta let God's people go. Let them go serve him so his wrath won't come down on you. Pharaoh felt disrespected. And okay, this is another thing too. This lets you know that sometimes your emotions are more spiritual than they are carnal. You understand? How did God harden Pharaoh's heart? What did Pharaoh feel when his heart was hardened? Moses saying, man, you better let God's people go. And Moses would not listen to her. Man, who the fuck is you, nigga? I ain't listening to you. Don't come barking no orders. Who is you, old nigga? Better get up out of here. You know who I am, nigga? I'm Pharaoh. The Bible says Pharaoh's heart was hardened. I ain't letting nothing go. But what was Pharaoh feeling? Sis.
Like pride or anger.
Anger. Disrespect. Who the fuck? Insulted. God said, let his people. Man, who the fuck is nigga? Who is you? Moses, ain't you the old nigga that fled? Nigga, ain't you been gone about 40 years? You gonna come in here and talk about letting some Hebrews go, man? F you, F your God and them Hebrews. I ain't letting shit go. That's Pharaoh. The Bible says, and God hardened his heart. So what happens when you get insulted? And you want to go and fight somebody or go do something or go let a nigga know don't be disrespecting me? Is that the Lord? Or is it Satan? How do you know? That's what you got to think about. Pharaoh had an emotional response to Moses saying, God said, let his people go so they can come worship him in the wilderness. Well, what? Who is this nigga? Where y'all get him from? God, nigga. Who's God, nigga? I'm God. I'm Pharaoh. Fuck you talking about? Let your people go to do what? Nah, see, I told y'all, them Hebrew niggas ain't doing enough work. They got too much idle time. You know what? We're going to make them niggas work harder because they fuck this nigga crazy. He's insane. Who this old nigga? I don't know who the old nigga is, sir. Where he come from? I don't know, sir. What the Hebrews are saying about this old nigga? We don't know that old nigga. I ain't never seen that old nigga in my life. Everybody don't know who this old nigga is, but this old nigga is saying. And another thing about Moses and Aaron is you have to understand that Moses never spoke a word to Pharaoh. The Bible tells you that Moses had a speech impediment. And to make Moses feel better about going to Pharaoh, the Most High told Moses, speak to Aaron. Let Aaron be your mouthpiece. So not only was the old nigga disrespecting Pharaoh, but the old nigga is standing there doing this.
Like whispering.
Aaron like this. Aaron. Hey man, God gonna kill you if you don't let the Hebrews go. Man, who the fuck this old whispering ass nigga is, man? The fuck? Y'all got me see these Hebrew niggas out of pocket. I've been told y'all they was disrespectful as shit. You know what? We got something for y'all niggas. That's what was happening with Pharaoh and Moses and Aaron. When you read the Bible and it say, and Moses said, Moses ain't say nothing. Aaron spoke it. So we're going to read that a little. It changes the whole everything. Every scene of everything you ever been showed about Moses, it's some old guy in the back. And then his older brother, Aaron older than Moses, but Aaron is then saying, yeah, God said something. Which to Pharaoh is like, this old nigga is supposed to be God. Moses is with nobody heard Moses' voice ever. Moses never spoke. Moses, and then Aaron saying, and the Lord said, you're going to die if you don't let his people go. So Pharaoh was like, yo, fuck is these two old niggas, man? But if Pharaoh would have checked his emotions and not been so, okay, that's what I mean. He couldn't even check his emotions. God used him against himself. His position, his standing, his authority. God used that to destroy him. But God didn't make Pharaoh's heart hard. God didn't give Pharaoh no option. But because of the life that Pharaoh had lived and who he had become and the status that he had no other response or reaction than to be insulted, than to be angry, than to be mad. Don't be Pharaoh. Don't get played by your emotions. Don't get played by how you feel. Never react emotionally.
Yeah.
Always think logically and plan out. Deal with everything that happens to you so that you can be emotionally sound to make a decision knowing this is not based on my emotions or how I feel. What happened to me was wrong. Now let me go to him. Between me and him. What if Pharaoh would have pulled them two old niggas aside and said, listen, man, I can't come up here in the royal court and what's he talking, your God y'all talking about? But that's not the man Pharaoh was. Pharaoh could not have that type of response because of who he was. So I just wanted to make sure that we understood that point of it. God hardened in Pharaoh's heart. It wasn't like Pharaoh had no choice, but the Lord used Pharaoh's character against him. Everybody understands? All right. And the Lord told Moses that Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He will refuse to let the people go. All right. So I'm gonna read this one so we can get it. It says, Exodus 7:15. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's brink against he come. Meaning you're gonna stand across from where he coming out to the water. And the rod which was turned into a serpent, thou shalt take in thine hand. And thou shalt say unto him, the most high power of the Hebrews have sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto thou wilt not hear. Thus saith the Most High, in this thou shalt know that I am the Most High. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in mine hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink of the water of the river. Now, when Moses goes out to do this, so the Lord is telling Moses to go say this and do this. But when Moses goes out to do it, Moses is standing there and Aaron is speaking. Aaron is speaking, saying, the Lord God said, because you wouldn't listen, he's going to smite the waters. And the whole time, Moses in the background with the staff, like this, and standing there and waving the staff and smacking in the water, all while Aaron is saying, and the Lord said, and the God of the Hebrews, to where Pharaoh is looking at it like, who the fuck is this old nigga not saying nothing, bruh? Who is this nigga in the background with this, like, this old nigga got me fucked up? Because that's how it's coming across. Moses God. Moses is the God of the Hebrews because Moses ain't saying nothing. Moses just in the background with the stick while Aaron talking. Moses snapping the stick in the ground. Blood is coming from the stick. And Pharaoh's like, yo, y'all see this shit? Who's this old nigga, man? But that's how the Lord began to bring the plagues. And it's okay. It's funny to think of the picture that I'm painting. But what do you think the white man thinks of us out there on the streets? We be out there saying the stuff that we saying. God hates America. God's going to destroy this place. You celebrating your Christmas. You evil. They walking by like, these crazy ass niggas on this corner. I can remember being down there in downtown DC. We spoke outside a big train station, right? It's one of the major train stations. But I remember people would walk by us and try their best to pretend as though they're so busy that they can't see or hear anything we say. But we being out there all day on post, you literally people watching. That's my job, is to watch these motherfucking people, make sure nobody coming to try to hurt the camp.
Yeah.
But it would be it would be funny to see inside of people's minds based off of their facial and their eyes when they heard something that was like, what the fuck is these niggas talking about? But they would keep their focus. But you can see it in their head, and we say something that, you know what I'm saying, something that's trying to think of something that might have been said. But people absolutely would hear that we are speaking the word of God. And we are saying things that God said in the Bible. But because of their status and their stature and who they are in this place, and I ain't going to be seen down there listening to the Hebrews, they would quickly tell themselves to just ignore it. Just forget it. Don't even pay attention to it. But absolutely, you could tell they heard that shit. Yeah. They know They know that that's in the Bible. They want to stop and be like, what the hell y'all talking? But they don't. So they just keep walking by and ignoring us. That was Pharaoh with Moses. Aaron is warning him, saying God is going to destroy this place. God is going to plague Egypt. Look at what we about to do to the river. And Pharaoh like, man, these crazy two niggas, man.
Yeah.
But then next thing, and also too, here's what you can miss with the Bible, with these plagues, is TV and movies have shown us that all of this stuff was instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Like Moses slapped a stick in the water, now the whole river's red with blood. It didn't happen like that. It happened. It happened quick enough to know that it was something supernatural, but not immediately to where it's like, seize that old nigga, grab him right there, because he's causing crazy shit to happen. It wasn't like, it didn't happen like Moses, the Lord saying, Aaron saying, the Lord gonna plague Egypt and cause all the river to turn to blood, and then Moses slapped the staff and now all the water turned to blood. It didn't happen like that. It happened gradually. But one morning, Pharaoh out there and them two niggas is on the other side of the river, and Aaron is yelling, saying what the Lord gonna do. And Moses out there with the staff, and he smacked the stick in the water, and the Pharaoh like, ain't them two crazy niggas from the other day? Man, what's up with them niggas? And then he leave. But of course, over the next few days, the river done turned to stank. Right. The fish is coming up dead. They're getting reports, sir. Something's going on with the river. Right. The waters in the river is this and that, and this. And Pharaoh was getting mad. Pharaoh was getting his. But somebody out, go find out what's going on with the water. Yeah. Get the magicians out there. Find out why all the fish is dying. They going out there looking and trying to figure it out. They coming back like, we don't know what's happening, sir. The water ain't drinkable. The fish is dead. It's messed up out there. Yeah. And Pharaoh's like, it's that old nigga, man. Getting mad all over again. The Lord hardened his heart. Everybody understands. Let me just read it so that we can be clear on that, all right? So like, this is Exodus 7:20. It says, and Moses and Aaron did so, as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died, and the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. And the Egyptians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them as the Lord had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after that the Lord had smitten the river. So it was a week. All this happened over the course of a week. Everybody understand?
Oh, okay.
So this didn't happen instantaneously. It wasn't all in the 30 seconds or an hour like the movies show you. This was over the course of a week that the water turned to red. The fish was dying. They couldn't drink the water. This was a supernatural occurrence, but it wasn't like that. Everybody understands? Oh, okay. Verse 8, this is Exodus chapter 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses. Now hold up real quick though. Let's look at the first thing that the Lord plagued when he plagued Egypt. He started with the number one source of all of their substance. That's right. Which was that river. Yeah. That river is where they got their food. It's where they got their water. That river is where they did all of their commerce, all of the shipments, all of the merchants. Everything in Egypt started and ended with that goddamn river. And what did God do? Turned it to blood. Shut down everything that was going on with that river. Everybody understand? Exodus chapter 8. I say that to say, look at what's going on in America. You understand? The water, the commerce, all the business. COVID-19 shut down all the ports. You got strikes with all of the truck drivers over there in Europe. You got strikes all over the place. People are refusing to do work, refusing to work this slavery and do this job. And the oppressors' economy is suffering because of it. Everybody understands? Exodus chapter 8, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. Salaki, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into thy house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs. and the frogs shall come up both on thee and upon thy people and upon all thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. Again, Kapadazar.
So like you said, was this still happening like all at the same time though? Not instantly, but like was the water still bloody?
Yes, the water was still bloody. They still was unable to use the river, still able to get nothing from it. Then from this river that was nasty and disgusting and trifling, now all these frogs came.
Okay.
It's almost, if you could picture it in your mind, it's all happening as a result of one thing after the other. Because the river was plagued, now here come the frogs. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And now again, when Aaron and Moses go out to do this, Moses whispers to Aaron, and Aaron go and do this over the river, smack down in the water, then frogs start to come. So again, Pharaoh and them is like, yo, the old niggas was down by the water today. The one old nigga slapped the water, and now there's these frogs everywhere. Everybody understands? This is Exodus 8:8. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Most High, that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Most High. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, glory over me. When shall I entreat for thee and for thy servants and for thy people to destroy the frogs from thee and thy houses, that they may remain in the river only? And he said, tomorrow. And he said, be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Most High our power. And the frogs shall depart from thee and from thy houses and from thy servants and from the river. They shall remain, from thy people, they shall remain in the river only. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh. And Moses cried unto the Most High because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And the Most High did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart and hearkened unto them as the Most High had said. So Pharaoh got what he asked for. He asked for the frogs to no longer be there. The frogs died, but now it's stinky dead frogs every fucking where. And he's mad. He's once again prideful. Instead of saying, I should have been more specific with what I asked. Right. These old niggas done killed all the frogs. Now these old niggas got us doing these stink ass frogs. Now it ain't just the river stinking. Now it's everywhere that's stinking. Everybody understands? Exodus 8 verse 16. And the Most High, now, okay, let's look at the frogs dying and think of the price of food right now. All right, now y'all help me out. Is eggs really like $20?
They really are high. The 18 count? No, by the 18 count.
No, not even the 18 count. The 6 count, which is what I get, went from 99 cents to $2.50. So about $3.
I buy 6 eggs because it's too high. You can't don't buy
$3 for 6 eggs, so it's 50 cents an egg.
So if you eat eggs every day for breakfast, you're gonna need to find something else to eat because they high for real. They really are.
They gone.
That 18 count eggs is probably like $7 for real.
That's crazy.
I used to buy eggs at all this for 69 cents for 12 counts. They
12 count is $5.
Oh yeah, they high. They not playing. Them eggs high.
This is the thing. Those egg prices is a result of the trucks not running, of the damn the shit getting stuck at the border, shipments getting stuck at the border. The drought that just took place in the country where none of the livestock was eating and getting water like it was supposed to. Now there's a shortage on eggs and the price of eggs is running up. Shower bar.
But also I do a lot of reading too about how like the government really be taking over people's farms and stuff. Like they really be ruining, private farmland. So where we used to get eggs from, we're no longer getting them from them.
Well, that's that again. That's all a part of the plagues of this place. These people at the top are so cruel and so evil that they go to take over a farm and stop the production of whatever they producing just so they can drive the prices up, so they can put more crunch on the people. Not knowing that's the Lord trying to show everybody that this place is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
So this Exodus 8 and 16. And the Most High said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with the rod and smote the dust of the earth. And it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land. So now all the dirty, nasty people in Egypt now have lice. You understand?
Because they can't wash.
Okay. Don't think because they can't wash themselves because they don't wash themselves. Okay, they didn't have a culture of being clean and washing like we did. So now because of their culture, because of their way of life, because of their uncleanness, now there's lice everywhere. How do you get rid of lice?
Wash.
You
gotta wash.
You have to, like, because I used to be around other races of people, and you literally have to sit down and comb through, or literally cut off all the hair, or I mean, like, it's lice is really worse than bed bugs.
Yeah. You have to be super clean. You gotta clean and inspect everything and everybody, and quarantine yourself till they all die off.
And this verse said it, so like I said, this verse said that even the beast got it. So that means all your animals got the lice too.
Everything that's
there's no way.
Everything that's dirty got the lice. Everybody understands. So there was now lice everywhere. So hold up. First the river was stinky and fish was dead and it's red. Then the frogs came about the river. You go beg, please, man, get rid of these frogs. Okay. The next day, all the frogs die. And then from the dead frogs, that's dirty and stinky and funky, now you have a lice infestation. That's all over everything. One after the other, these plagues are occurring while Moses and Aaron are still saying, let God's people go.
Yeah.
Let them go and go worship the Lord. Exodus chapter 8, verse 19. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them as the Most High had said. So the previous two plagues, Pharaoh's magicians tried to cover it up like, man, we can do the same thing. Look, Pharaoh's magicians was really scientists that tried to show this how he did that. See, it's the science. It's science. He just took a little coloring and put it in the river. That's why the river's red. Or the frogs, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what the hell they did, but they made it so that Pharaoh felt comfortable about what Moses and Aaron had done, that it didn't come from God. But when the lice came, they said, nah, we getting plagued. This is God doing this. This ain't no figuring this out. And that is like what's taking place with science right now. There's a lot happening in the earth. Science cannot explain that shit. I don't care if you somebody who believe in all the conspiracy theories of all conspiracy theories, right? Let's say you blame COVID-19, all that on the white man, AIDS and all these diseases on the white man. What explains whales just washing up hundreds at a time dead in certain parts of the world? How do you explain birds dropping dead out the sky? Just in a 2-mile radius, all the birds that was in the sky just dropped dead and they on the ground dead. There's things taking place that can't be explained. How do you explain the rain going on in California right now? The mudslides and the earthquakes all over the Pacific. There's a lot of stuff that's taking place that just cannot be explained away. Esau Science will tell you. I just told you. I watched a documentary about a massive die-off that's taking place on the earth right now. There's species are disappearing off the earth. And Esau scientists are saying we have never seen this many things dying on the earth at the same time since the last ice age. What's causing all this stuff to die? They can't even tell you. God's plagues is what's causing all these things to come to pass. Everybody understands?
Mhm.
Verse 20 is Exodus 8 and 20. And the Most High said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water. And say unto him, thus saith the Most High, let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground wherein they are. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies may be there, to the end that thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And the Most High did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies. Everybody understands? This is the next plague that came in order. And so the point with all of these plagues is that it was a clear succession of one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, that resulted from Pharaoh's heart being hardened. And that is exactly what is happening in this place called America. And who knows when it started? Who knows when God began to plague this place? But it should be obvious now that he is doing it. Everybody understands? And so what does that mean for God plaguing this place? It means that we have to take our spirit out of America, take our minds and our hearts out of America, and we have to serve the Lord, because the only protection that you have against these plagues is serving the Most High. We see here that he made a difference between him, his people, and the Egyptians. The land of Goshen where Israel was dwelling, there were no flies. Why weren't there any flies in the land of Goshen, besides the fact that the Lord was with us and watched over us? From what we just read about how these plagues took place in the land of Egypt, what protected the children of Israel from these plagues? Why is it that we didn't have any lice and flies and all those things in the land where we was dwelling? Sister Shawabah.
If we were clean.
Yes, our culture. What do you think happened in Israel when the water turned to blood and the fish was dead and stinking, and it was a horrible situation? We went and got the fish and cleaned up the place. Then when the frogs came and the frogs died, we didn't just leave dead frogs just outside. We went and cleaned the frogs up. Get these dirty ass stinky frogs from around us. Then, because the dirty stinky frogs is gone, when the lice came, we washing and cleaning and getting rid of the lice. We ain't dirty and dusty, so it ain't a lot of dust for lice to form where we at. Then when the flies came, there ain't no dead frogs to feed on. There ain't no lice to eat. We ain't got no frogs where we are. Our culture and we know that all this is happening because these two old niggas are saying to Pharaoh, let my people go. So we listening to Moses and Aaron at the time, keep sticking to our culture, separating ourselves from the Egyptians, and they were plagued and we were not. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because of our culture.
So we real like we had the oral law, so we were following the laws like pertaining to like dead animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't think the oral law, just think we had our customs. Okay. Things off we did as a family. Okay. Before we had laws written down, we just as a family, you better get in that shower. Yeah. Boy, you wash today, you better go wash. That was our culture. Okay. Before it became a law to not be unclean, we didn't, you funky boy, you stink, go take a shower. And that's what I'm saying. When you think about the Bible and you realize it's black people, a lot of the stuff that's written in the Bible is just our culture, period. Yeah. Like, okay, I grew up around a bunch of Edomites, right? I didn't really grow up around them, but I went to school with them. But the idea that anybody would not shower every day was like wild to me. I had a couple funky cousins, they ain't like to shower. Nigga coming from playing basketball and go play video games and then get in the bed. Like, nigga, you ain't in the shower. But you know, he had one or two funky cousins, but for the most part, all of us knew You get in the house, you eat dinner, you get in the shower before you go to bed. That was just how we did in the black household.
Yeah.
To find out later in life that I had white friends who were showering once a week, twice a week to save water or because it's good for your skin. Like, what funkies? Where you get that from? We didn't need a Bible to tell us to clean every day.
That's right. That's true.
You know what's not in the Bible at all? Cleanliness is next to godliness. There's not a scripture that says that. But to black people, you can't be close to God if you funky, if you dirty. God don't like ugly. God don't like stinky. God don't like funky. That we didn't need a Bible to tell us that. It's in our spirit. It's in who we are. I talked about this in class the other day too. We are the only people who believe in God. I've never heard another nation say, "Man, that's God." Oh God, I need to. You know what I'm saying? I need to pray. I've never heard a white person say that. I've never a Chinese, Asian, or East Indian. I've never heard them say, "Man, I hope God with me." It's not even a thing that exists to them. It's not even in their consciousness. It's not in their spirit that somehow God has something to do with this. I don't think I've ever seen a white guy say, "I want to thank God." Winning awards and shit. I don't think I've ever seen a white guy say, "I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ." Because to them, God ain't got nothing to do with my acting skills. God ain't got nothing to do with me making this music. That was me. I did that shit. I made these bars up, nigga. That wasn't God. Rappers go to these. There's certain white men in the entertainment industry that are like gurus. They're like, you go get with this guy. He gonna make you make a hit album. One of them is named Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin is a white guy who's been around for a long time in the music industry, and Rick Rubin has made a lot of hit records, made the beats for a lot of hit records. He's worked with a lot of artists in the studios. There's a show called Lil Dicky on FX, right? By this white rapper guy. Anyway, there's an episode where he goes to see Rick Rubin. And they take this guy and have him do a bunch of weird stuff to find his swag again. Basically, he has writer's block. They're trying to get him out of writer's block. And they have him do all this weird shit to get out of writer's block. And I remember watching that and thinking to myself, how many rappers has done this goofy shit? Like, how many rappers has gone to see Rick Rubin and Rick Rubin had them do a bunch of weird shit, and the rapper felt like, "Yeah, man, Rick, man, help me out, man. Have me tap into," when really, who knows what that shit is? Yeah. Who knows what kind of demons, what kind of damn that could be some ancient shit them devils is dabbling in. Rick Rubin got you going to see demons and talk to spirits, and you thinking you having some euphoric experience that helps you write better when really you just tapped into Satan. Not even on no secret society shit. It's just it's simple stuff. He doesn't have this cat do nothing that's like, it ain't nothing gay or nothing satanic, but it's just like, that's weird, my nigga. And the point I'm making is white people have their own processes to arrive at greatness and to arrive at getting things done. And none of it got nothing to do with no goddamn God. But black people in America who are cut off from God, the truth about God, in Christianity, still give God the credit. Yeah. When God ain't have nothing to do with none of that shit you was doing. But we such a spiritual people, like, it's in us to thank God. It's in us to recognize there's a higher power. That is not in none of these other nations because their higher powers don't exist. White people know their higher power is not real. So they don't really work. White people know that they didn't get America because they worship God, they loved God? No, they got America because they murdered, raped, and robbed and pillaged the native people. Used evilly sadistic tactics to convince these people that they were friendly, and then the white man murdered them. Yeah. So like a shower by, you gonna say something?
Just a question, sir. So what is their purpose of going to church then? Why do they have services, and what's the point of their religion if they don't really believe?
Okay, to keep order. White religion exists to stop white people from just murdering and raping all the time. It's a control mechanism. It's to keep them in control. The same way it keeps us in control, it keeps them in control. Without religion, Without religion, do you know what America would be if there was no fear of hell when you die?
Okay.
Fear of hell is not to keep niggas in check.
Yeah.
It's to keep these crackers in check. Because if there was no fear of nothing happening when you die, poor white people would murder and rape and have sex in the anus with rich white people. They would go and kill rich white people. But what stops them from doing that is the fear of consequences.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
Black people already have that.
Yeah.
Because we know there's some things you just don't do. And what took that away from us was drug. The white man had to literally poison us in order to get us to kill one another, to abuse one another, to rape our daughters, and to prostitute our daughters and turn our sons to homosexuals. That didn't occur in our community until poison was put on us. You understand? Because we are the people who have a conscience towards things like that.
Yeah.
But they don't. Kabata's up.
So are white people right for saying I did this success on my own? This wasn't God, or are we wrong for crediting the Lord, knowing like we know in the truth we know God ain't had nothing to do with that? Are we wrong for like in the world when they go to the Grammys and they thank the Lord? Are they wrong for doing that, or are the white people right for saying no? I did this on my own.
Okay. Here's a better question. That's an excellent question, right? Here's the better question. Who are they thanking when they say, I thank God?
That's always my thought.
Yeah.
Because when you realize, when you break it down, they are thanking the white man.
Who is their God?
Yeah.
Because that is their God.
Yeah. Okay.
The most, but so let me take that part away from it. We are absolutely wrong. Because we be knowing God ain't have nothing to do with that shit. I'm telling you right now, these rappers that get these contracts and they get these deals, they know God had nothing to do with any of that. You know, you went in there and you tap dance, nigga. You shoe shine and you buck dance and you say, come on, master, please give me a chance. That's how you got that record deal. You nigga, you know right now, you wouldn't dare open up your mouth sideways or say nothing that go against this devil, because he'll take away your contract and your music and your fucking shows tomorrow. So you act accordingly and you smile and you yes boss, no boss, because you know that he'll take it away. So they know God ain't got nothing to do with that.
Okay.
They say it to keep up appearances. They say it to make, to so that black people won't disown them. Okay. But they absolutely know, man, Salakia. Some of these cats done got on their knees and did some unthinkable things to get what they got. They know God ain't had nothing to do with that. Some of these folks done did unimaginable things, and they know that God ain't have nothing to do with that. You understand? And that's why they wrong. Because they really, instead of thanking God, they should really. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no truth or honesty in this world at all. Yeah. You understand? You would think that somebody who had to go through that to get to where they were would turn around and be like, don't do what I did. Yeah. It's not worth it. But they don't. They enjoy it and appreciate it. It's just like I was saying earlier in Romans when Paul said, does the creature say to the creator, why has thou made me this way? They don't never say that. People who get rich or famous or gain glory from doing something evil, they never say, why did God make me to be this way? Why I gotta be so evil? No, they go get paid and get rich and they pretend in front of you like it's a glorious, wonderful life. And that's why they deserve everything that happens to them, because they are not remorseful. They're not sad. They're only sad when they get caught. They only feel bad when somebody exposes them. That ain't really feeling bad. You don't really care. You don't give a damn. So you deserve all the evil that happens to you. And that's this society. That's this world. That's why as God continues to plague this place, when it all falls apart, ain't going to be no, why us? What happened? No, you know exactly why this happened. Yeah. Pharaoh knew exactly why it happened. What you'll see here, if we continue reading, Pharaoh never cried. Pharaoh never said, why me? Pharaoh never said, what did I do wrong? Pharaoh just got mad. Yeah. Pharaoh just got mad. Why? Because he didn't have any control. He didn't have any authority. The whole point of Pharaoh going to the magicians was so he could feel better about having control. What's going on with the river? Why is it turning red and all the goddamn frogs dying? Where the magicians at? Hey, man. Yeah, the nigga it's a magic trick, man. That nigga just caused the water to turn red doing this, and the fish dying, but it ain't nothing mad. It ain't nothing special. You know what I'm saying? He ain't doing nothing we couldn't do. Okay, all right, no sweat. What's with all these goddamn frogs going on, man? See, because what happened was he used the coloring in the water, then the frogs came. It's a sweep up of frogs coming to frog, and then Pharaoh was like, okay. Then the lice came. Hey man, what the fuck going on with all these lice? And it's God doing this shit. We don't even know what's going on with these lice. Then Pharaoh didn't say, oh no, let me go and pray. Let me ask him to stop the lice. Pharaoh just got mad. Fuck you mean it's God, nigga? Man, I knew y'all niggas wasn't shit anyway. Y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of charlatans. Get the hell up out of here. Get the hell up out of here. These magician niggas. That's Esau right now. Right now, there's things taking place on the earth, and these devils can't explain it. So what's their solution? Let's just kill a bunch of motherfuckers. Let's just use this as an excuse to kill a bunch of people, and that's what they planning to do. That's what they trying to do. Listen, you go study the history of this place and the people who were in charge. All of the wars. I started the class talking about Nikola Tesla, right? Mm-hmm. And how we had wireless electricity in the 1800s. If that technology or those ability, that technology or that knowledge was made known to the world 100 years ago, then all the wars that have been fought over the past 100 years would never have happened. World War I wouldn't have happened. World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the war on drugs, all of these wars that have been fought would have never happened. But you go in history and you go and find out who are all the people who benefited from all those wars, who are all the people that made the most money from all those wars, and you find out Salagi. That's who Pharaoh is. And when they feel like they don't have no control, their heart is hardened, just like Pharaoh's was in the Bible. And that's what's taking place in this society today. All these things that are happening around the earth, all of these supernatural occurrences and all of these animal die-offs and all of these earthquakes and these volcanoes and these monsoons and tornadoes in weird places, God is plaguing the oppressor, and the oppressor is realizing there's nothing they can do. And when they realize there's nothing they can do, the next resort is violence. Everybody understands? And that's what we're seeing take place on the earth. So with that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You brothers and sisters out there, we have a school here in Memphis, Tennessee. Address is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. The calling number to the school is 901-249-0085. 901-249-0085. Come to class, man. Come on and learn the truth. Learn who you are. Learn what God intends for you to do with your life and become the man or the woman he called you to be. With that, we'll see y'all tomorrow for class. Shalom, Israel.